Hello, everyone, and welcome to 3 Words, a bite-sized podcast about the simple, significant, and strategic choices that all of us can make to become the best version of ourselves. Here we are during the COVID-19 pandemic. And for Amy and I, our hair is a little longer than it usually is because we've not made our way to the barber and the hairstylist. But it doesn't matter because we are so pleased to be here with you today. I am Dr. Michael Brown, and I am the host of the 3 Words podcast. And COVID-19 was not going to keep us away from having these conversations with you. So we found a space, a wide open space that's disinfected and sanitized, where we can actually wear masks when we're interacting outside of this particular conversation and even being socially distanced now. Because this pandemic, it's hard. And there's a lot going on. And because of that, we've actually chosen a 3-word phrase today that is really particularly notable during the pandemic, while at the same time, I think, be able to reach beyond these days that are really hard and unprecedented. So the 3 words, Amy Seifert, my dear friend, life coach, best-selling author, and friend of mine. What are our 3 words for this particular episode?
Pause to breathe.
Pause to breathe. Now, what's interesting about that word pause is I have, in the course of this period of time that we call the COVID-19 pandemic, I have been talking against and resisting the notion of and trying to dispel the temptation to give into the pandemic pause, where we just hit pause and say, let's just bunker down and let's just shelter in place and not think about life and who we're becoming and actually just wait it all out until we get to the other side. So I've been saying, on one hand, don't pause. But the purpose of this particular conversation is, don't do that. Don't engage in the pandemic pause. However, during this pandemic and even beyond the pandemic, we need to pause to breathe.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Oh, it's hard. It's been hard dealing with a global pandemic. And one of the things that I've been doing pretty regularly is pausing to breathe and being mindful, and even having some just body scans where I notice what's happening and I have some compassion for what's going on. Where before I would just kind of keep going and push through. This is making me, I need to take some inventory and pause to breathe. So
even as you share that, I'm finding myself, why was I holding my breath? I'm like, I should be breathing more right now. So
yes.
I feel even as you shared, I took this deep breath and I felt better.
I saw you. Yeah, it's a big deal to, even my counselor talks about stopping and taking a body scan from head to toe, where you start and you're like, okay, let's think through, is there tension in my neck? Am I holding my shoulders up? Should I relax them? Am I holding my breath? All the way, just carry it all the way down. Or is there tension somewhere? Go all the way down to your toes and just scan your body and don't judge it. Just become aware. And
interesting.
Yeah. And just start to think, okay, I am carrying some of this. And as you take a body scan and you think it through, it is so valuable to care for your body and even have some self-care right in the middle of your day. It doesn't mean you run away to a spa, but pausing to breathe really does heal some of those broken places. Specifically, I love this exercise called palms down, palms up.
Okay.
Which is from Richard Foster. It's a classic celebration of disciplines where he talks about taking 5 minutes a day and sitting quietly somewhere. Maybe for you mamas out there, you got to lock yourself in a bathroom. That's fine. And you just close your eyes and you put your palms down. Yes.
I'm going to do it with you.
You do it with me. So you put your palms down, and this is signaling to your body, because we're holistic people, that you're going to release and not hold on to anything right now. And so you start to, and sometimes I close my eyes and I release every kind of thing I can think of that is stressful or is causing anxiety. I mean, sometimes it's the grocery list, things on my to-do list, that hard conversation I just had with my husband, that weird, awkward conversation I had with my coworker and I'm regretting it. I mean, everything you can think of, I just name it and I release it. Maybe a weakness or an issue, or I have to confess something, I'll probably have to go to somebody and ask forgiveness. Whatever it is, I just name it and I let go.
While keeping your palms down.
Palms down.
So it's actually things that are happening in your mind.
Yes.
And you're pushing them.
And you're feeling in your body.
Yeah.
Because your body tells the truth.
Yep. Ooh, your body tells the truth.
Yes. So once I've released as much as I can, I turn my palms over. And so we've released, and now it's time to receive. And this is where I just take another breath and I release back out, and I want to receive. For me, the spiritual dimension is to receive from God. I want to receive grace. I want to receive peace. I want to receive joy. I want to receive hope in the middle of the pandemic. I want to receive light, not darkness. Maybe you can't even think of anything to receive, and so you just keep your palms open in a receiving posture. So even taking 5 minutes to do this in the middle of your day really integrates what might have been disintegrating throughout your day and you didn't even know it.
What I'm hearing, even as I watch you and as I listen and even practice with you a little bit, this idea of mindfulness, being fully present in this moment, whether it is in your living room or, as you said, in the bathroom, because obviously you can't go to the spa right now.
Right.
I can't go to the gym. We can't even get a haircut. Clearly, look at me. But to be able to, in this moment, in this time, make a decision to actually capture our thoughts and to become aware. Because so much is happening in our mind. And unless we call it out, unless we acknowledge it, you keep using this idea of awareness. It's hard to face it, to deal with it, to challenge it, to interpret it, to understand it.
Or just sit with it and let it be. You don't have to judge it.
Yeah.
You might not even have to challenge it. It just is.
Oh, it just is.
It just is. But I can let it go. I don't have to hold on to it. But if we don't pause, we're going to run it over, keep going. It's going to build up, and all of a sudden.
It's not going anywhere.
If
you don't release it, it's now stuck.
And you're holding on to it in some way. Okay. It's going to come out sideways. It's going to come out.
Yeah.
And that's who knows?
In a conversation.
In a conversation with the person under your roof.
In an adult tantrum.
Exactly. Who knows how it's coming out?
Yeah.
And so if we take regular pauses, it's going to be less we're holding on to.
So are you breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, or is there any particular way, or you're just breathing?
I'm just breathing. I'm trying to be really slow and intentional.
Yeah.
Something I've read too in various counseling books is that when you exhale just 1 second longer than your inhale, it signals to your mind and your body that you are safe. So if you inhale for 4 and exhale for 5, that extra second, whatever it's doing, cortisol, I don't know what's happening, safety is being registered in your body.
Well, it's interesting you say that because even because I can't go to the gym, because I'm not able to work outside of my home, I've been trying new ways to stay physically fit. And so I have taken my first online yoga class. And it was interesting. I was like, is this going to be painful? Is this going to be scary? Am I going to hurt myself?
Right.
My wife's like, you're going to hurt yourself. But what was interesting, a lot of what we were doing was breathing.
Oh, it's amazing.
And even as I was kind of listening to the yoga instructor just talking about breathing and deep breaths, it just felt, I didn't do as much exercise maybe as when I was lifting.
Right.
I mean, I was in some ways in a different sort of way, but so much of it was this idea of breathing. And I got to the end of that yoga session and I thought, I'm not sure what I benefited most from. Was it the actual Pilates and these various stretches and movements that I made, or was it the fact that I just paused?
Yes.
And I breathed. And yoga, the fact that I purchased that 1 hour session, it forced me to be in a place, in a space that for an hour I was taking deep breaths, and I felt so different. And in fact, it got me thinking, because I talk a lot about the 12 dimensions of life. And I thought, what does it look like to pause? Of course, to breathe in the physical dimension. But then I started thinking about, what does it look like to pause emotionally? You said it. To pause in the emotional dimension of my life, to actually take my emotional temperature and to pause long enough to say, I'm feeling frustrated. Now, you just taught me something. Don't necessarily judge it. Just acknowledge it. Be aware of it. There's no need to judge it, or there's no need to even fix it on the moment, right?
Right.
But to know, I'm feeling frustrated. But even to take 60 seconds, 90 seconds to pause, to gauge my emotional temperature. I think about the recreational dimension of life, to pause long enough and say, even here during the pandemic, do I need another Netflix show?
Right.
Is that really, and it might be exactly what I need. It can be incredibly refreshing.
Right.
Because I want to choose recreational activities that refuel and regenerate and refresh me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to choose something that numbs my heart and distances me from important relationships and makes me feel worse at the end of it. And so I think I can pause in the recreational dimension, the emotional, the relational dimension.
Mm-hmm.
I need to pause before I speak.
Oh, me too.
Particularly when I'm feeling frustrated. There's a lot of new emotions that not new, but there are other frustration and a sense of overwhelmed and feeling burdened and feeling heavy-hearted. There's new kind of frequency of some of the things that I felt in the past that I'm feeling more often.
Yep.
I want to pause before I speak to my children. I want to pause before I speak to my dear, wonderful wife. Because if I don't pause, that 60-second or that 90-second investment could really spare pain.
Yes.
And it could shift my perspective. And I was thinking about even pausing intellectually. I talk about the intellectual dimension of life. And to actually say, what am I thinking about right now? What am I believing to be true about myself and about this person and about my value and about my worth and about my life? And what am I thinking about what life should be? And what do I think about this pandemic? And I'm just, again, I could spend some time that we don't have during this short podcast, but to think about, wow, this idea of pausing to breathe, it has significant, as you described, physical and spiritual ramifications, but it transcends all the different dimensions of our life. Just to pause for a moment.
Yeah. And to pause and notice what's happening. Notice what's going on there. Notice what's happening in yourself. Again, not judge it or condemn it, but here it is. Notice what my children's posture is right now, and I can get down and match it. I can absorb it. I don't have to join the crazy. It's to observe for just a second. You're right. It will help a lot. It will stop pain. It also brings compassion and grace to the people around us, ourselves included. Yeah, pausing.
And even as we record this podcast, I am feeling, more relaxed, even as listening to you and just pausing to breathe and just feeling like all is well.
Yeah.
And things are going to be okay. And pausing brings perspective.
Yeah.
Pausing might bring peace. Pausing brings physical release and allows us, I think, even in these very tense times, to become and continue to become the best version of ourselves. Not hitting the pandemic pause button, waiting for this all to pass and then somehow the normal is going to come back, but to actually pause to breathe. For life coaching, consulting services, or to hire a keynote speaker, please visit dmbcoaching.com.